This is the regular meeting of the Leonard Village Council. Today is October 9th, 2023. I'd like to ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a brief invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, we thank you for this day you given to us and allowing everybody to make it here safely. We pray that you give us wisdom as we go through today's meeting, and that just the meeting will go smoothly. In your name, amen.
Thank you. Okay. We have a roll call for attendance of the council.
Sure. McDonald,
Here,
Kennedy,
excused.
Pelichick. Here. Swack. Here. Hawkins.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll note for the record that both Clerk Lori Zelenak and Treasurer Judy Verse are present. Okay, the council has received the minutes of the September 10th regular meeting of the Village Council. Are there any questions, changes, corrections? If none, a motion to approve them would be in order.
I will make a motion to approve and file the regular meeting minutes from September 11th, 2023.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, receive and file them, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, minutes are approved. All right. Council has received an agenda. Unfortunately, I erred on it. If you would look at under new business number 2, that should say sewer study. And down in old business where it says sewer study, it should say nature park. My apologies.
Well, that would be hard to know.
So if there's no other further business or amendments, motion to approve the amended agenda would be, corrected agenda would be in order.
I will make a motion to approve the amended, corrected agenda for October 9th.
I'll support that motion. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Motion carries. We have an agenda. The next item on that agenda is the treasurer's report for September of 2023. Are there any questions, changes, corrections? If none, a motion to receive and file the approved report would be in order.
I will make a motion to accept and approve and file the treasurer's report for September 2023.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, or we should do a roll call on this, please.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Swack.
Yes.
Pelichick. Yes. McDonald.
Yes. Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the accounts payable for September. Here again, you can see the amounts on the agenda. So are there any questions or on the accounts payable? If not, a motion to pay the bills and the amounts indicated would be in order.
I will make a motion to pay the bills, accept and file the accounts payable for September in the amounts of general, $8,289.57, major, $29,138.48, local, $645, and Mill Park Recreation in the amount of $14,877.50.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please, to pay the bills?
McDonald.
Yes.
Swack.
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Pelichick. Yes.
Okay, motion carries. At this time, the Village of Leonard has advertised that it will be having a public hearing on our 2024 Community Development Block Grant allocation, which at this point, we haven't received a firm number, but it's generally it's been $7,000 the last few years. So what we'd like to do is open the hearing. If there is a public, we would receive their comments on what they think the money should be used towards. And then we would close the public hearing, and then we would handle our regular order of business. So it would be appropriate to have a motion to open the public hearing at this time.
I will make a motion to open the public hearing for the CDBG funds.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing on the 2024 Community Development Block Grant allocation. Could we have a roll call for that, please?
Pellicet,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
Swack,
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes. Okay. Anybody care to address the village council? Okay. Hearing none, it would be appropriate to have a motion to close the public hearing at this time and reopen the regular meeting.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing for 2024 Community Development Block Grant allocation and open the regular village council meeting.
I'll second.
Is that John?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing and on the block grant allocation and return to regular session. Can we have a roll call, please?
McDonald,
Yes.
Pellicet,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
Swack.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right. Moving on then to public comment. There being no public present, other than TV, no comment. We'll move on then to new business. First item of which is the village council will determine the use of the 2024 block grant allocation. Lori, do you want to speak to this, or do you?
Sure, I can, kind of just, and feel free to jump in, because Mike and I were able to have a little conversation. This has kind of been like a little back and forth going on with the folks over at Oakland County, just trying to ferret out ways with what we have here to work with in the village, if there's any possible way that we can get creative about how to use these funds. And we found out that there is a way for us to use the architectural barriers, removal of architectural barriers, which is usually like curb cuts, I can't say the word, help me.
Curb cuts?
Curb cuts, thank you.
Yeah.
ADA pathways, the things that people, if they're, maybe they're blind, little bumpy patches, things like that. And then that can also roll over into other things too, where it's retrofitting buildings. It's not just sidewalks and things like that. But that gets kind of involved because we can't really use Davis-Bacon money, and a lot of these buildings are historical, which causes problems. So what we try to do is to make the full use of the money the best possible way we can without getting, historians and historical commissions and all kinds of different people involved. Saying that, after conversation with them, they said that there would be a way for us to use removal of architectural barriers for what they are going to call ADA pathways. So basically, it's what we've discussed in the past, which is that we are looking for connectivity in this village. We're looking for safety of our children and our citizens being able to move around. And they're going to allow us to use the funds basically to make the sidewalks connected, which would allow people with disabilities, senior citizens, and other folks to do that without having to be in a district that would be considered, let's say, low income, which has generally been the restriction that has caused us so many problems in the past. And that's really exciting because, having been on the Planning Commission, there's goals that we had set with the Planning Commission, hoping that we would be able to maybe earmark a few funds and get something going toward sidewalks. So this is actually really hopeful.
Right, and with that in mind, Lori and I have discussed it, and we think that, and I am recommending that the village council allocate the 2024 funds to the removal of architectural barriers project that does description. And as Lori explained, then we can work with the county to make sure that we meet their requirements. We put in the connectivity that will help, join our sidewalk system. And we also discussed where and how would we implement this. And the Planning Commission gave us a real good guideline with the sidewalk. They did if you haven't seen it, I think I might have sent it out, but if I didn't, they've given it, and they made recommendations for 4 areas to connect. And their first recommendation was from Beza Street to the Nature Park or Pollyant Trail. And since we're going to be using funding to put a sidewalk in on the Nature Park anyway, that's part of the overall design plan, then that would give us connectivity, from basically the center of town all the way to the south end of town. And the other projects are more difficult to accomplish, and I think this would be a good, and I think Lori felt the same way. This would be a good starting project. It's relatively flat. We might have to make a couple of whoop-de-doos to accommodate trees or whatnot, but it would be a good way to start. So that's why I'm recommending that we designate the entire allocation for 2024 to removing architectural barriers.
Does that leave us without the ability to do home repairs if the resident needed it? Or is
No.
that,
No, currently we have about $7,000.
and that's not going to go away? That's in
No,
there?
although I would like to talk about it. We're reallocating a portion of that money
I was going to say, I mean,
so we don't lose it.
yeah, I was going to say and keep the 2024 or
right.
something to that effect. Okay,
So we'll likely,
whatever makes sense.
we're shooting for next month to have another public hearing, but it would be reallocation rather than this process.
This is the 2024 stuff.
Yeah,
not-
this is strictly for 2024. I thought that was enough to handle at one time.
Gotcha.
So okay, so is there a motion then to make an allocation of the 2024 block grant funds? If not, I'll make the motion then, to authorize the Village of Leonard to allocate the entire amount of block grant funds to be received in 2024 to the removing architectural barriers projects.
I will second that.
Thank you. Okay, are there any questions on that?
I do. The allocation of, you say, okay, we're going to use it for this particular project. Do you, you only have until the end of '24 to make it happen, or can it be in progress?
No, good question. The,
Because sometimes you can't,
yeah, no,
Or you can't get
we
the-
have basically a 3/4 year window.
oh, okay.
We still have funds from 2019 that we have $3,389 in our account for minor home repair. And then we have $7,000 currently in the 2021 minor home repair account. And then in 2022, we have $3,500. So what I'd like us to discuss next month is that $7,000. We can either reallocate it to sidewalks, which would really benefit the overall project, or you could reserve some portion of it for minor home repair, but to be determined. So,
Could we do this at a later time if we knew the cost of the sidewalks? That way we're only allocating maybe what is needed, not necessarily all of it?
I think we're gonna need every bit of whatever we put together
Gotcha.
for that stretch, based on past experience. More so because we're gonna try and find a way for the village to do it, rather than hire a contractor, if at all possible, just because block grant funds, because they come from the federal government, require Davis-Bacon conformity. So the contractors have to be qualified to meet those requirements. So we may end up using one. We won't get as much project done as we might otherwise. So, like I said, Lori got creative. Now I'm going to have to get creative in how we get this done. So,
Right. We're going to try to do the easy ones first, just because some of them, the grade won't qualify as ADA, which we're going to have to bring in some engineers and things like that. So we're just thinking, how can we get the most bang for our buck just in the beginning phases? Because I think just like anything else, when you get something rolling, progress seems to kind of take off, and that's what we're hoping.
right. So there's been a motion and a second. Are there any other questions? Could we have a roll call vote then, please?
Sure. Pelichick,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Swack,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Thank you for your support. I think Lori deserves lion's share of credit she's been a bulldog trying to get information and back and forth. I mean, she went to the feds and she got the income guidelines and, where and what we can do. So, she's a force to be reckoned with. Okay, moving on. The sewer study budget amendment. We are in the process of wrapping up the sewer study. However, in order to do so, the ad hoc sewer committee wanted the village engineers to provide a cost analysis, how much would it cost they recommended a community sewer system, community septic system. So we're not talking about a lagoon anymore, and we're not talking about pipeline transmission to Oxford or Romeo or wherever Detroit Water is. The Detroit Water one, we were looking at a minimum of $40 million, and that didn't include all of the infrastructure for the residents to hook up to it. And so we were looking at lagoons, which would have serviced the area that the committee originally proposed. It would have covered downtown and further south and like part of Basin Street, things like that. So at the last meeting, in the face of the number game, they elected to not go to the smallest service area, but the next largest service area, which is basically from the railroad tracks on Elmwood Street, going east through the intersection down to West Street. And then it would cover everybody on the north side of Elmwood and the south side of Elmwood, and residences over on Division 2, like three potential lots on Division Street. So the engineer is now working on that. Hence, that's the reason we're looking at, they've asked for an additional $1,600 to make the final report and complete it. They spelled out, and I think I sent it to you, but if you didn't get it, I think I have a couple here, one here. You want to glance at it. Basically, this says $1,600, and for that money, they will put together, because the committee met irregularly and made such a dramatic change at the end, or recommendation at the end, it's going to require more work and more hours. And we started this process in 2021. So, reluctantly, I have to agree that they're being asked to do more in a relatively short span of time. I have an absolute deadline, drop dead deadline of having this completed by November 15th. That's just the contract we have with the county says, and that includes an extension that they gave us a year ago. So we need to get this done, and it's gonna cost us $1,600, and I assume we'll have to go into our account reserves to pay for it, because I only recommended $11,500 for our budget, because that would have covered it along with the infrastructure grant that we got. But combined, it's an extra $1,600. So I'm recommending it because we need to get this done, and the people need to know what we're doing or what we've done and where we possibly could go. So I'll open it up to the council if you have any questions or.
Jennifer Arundel, I was under the proposed system cost. This last sentence said if the person goes to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and they agreed that the owner would not be able to recoup the cost of special assessment when selling the property, that the whole thing can be shut down.
Basically, yeah.
It takes one person?
Well, I don't know if it would be just one person, but if their argument is valid, it wouldn't be just them. It might apply.
There'd be a few.
It would apply to maybe quite a few. That was one of the, when we had the consultant, Andy Campbell, did his analysis. I think if you reread that, he'll see that he alludes to that as well. There are a number of hazards in doing this, especially in a small community. So that's why the ad hoc committee recommended that we have a vote or notified, or at least have the people that would be in the district notified, come to a public hearing so that they could weigh in on whether to proceed or not. But we can do that after we get our report back. We don't have to stall on that point to see whether everybody wants it or not. This in my mind it's not the best, but it's a practical way that could help the village, but it's not an answer. It's not an answer for all of the problems. The wetness, the water that we have. It's not going to address that. The natural groundwater. It's going to take care of sewage, and that's it. And it's going to be expensive. Generally it's $10,000 for a resident to hook up in most sewer systems now. And then they also have to pay for the sewage machinery, like the pump box, they call them a macerator, and then whatever length it is from the main to their home. And then you have your debt, you have to pay the debt on the system plus the debt of disposal. Like if you have a lot of sewage, you pay more than the guy that just has a little.
How do they determine?
Well, in a community that has water supply, municipal water, they use your amount of water consumption. In our case, they pretty much flat rate it. So that means that whether someone has 15 people in their house or one person in their house, they're going to be paying the same.
It's across the board.
It's going to be.
How is a resident, how do they pay for that? Is it a lump? Is it over years or taxes or?
We would have to borrow money from the Department of Agriculture, and there may be the United States Department of Agriculture has loans for sewerage systems that are administered through the state of Michigan. So we could apply to the state, and I've already had numerous conversations with them over the last 3 years. They would love to loan us money if we can pay it back. So our residents would have to know how much we're borrowing, how much each one's going to have to pay it for the system. This system, well, I'm not going to speculate. that's what this money would go towards, for our engineers to calculate exactly how many properties would be involved, and then we'd have to buy land. You have to have about 10 acres for a community septic system. So there's some steps that we'll have to go through. If the people want to. And I strongly suspect that there's going to be enough people with reservations that may or may not be the kind of investment they want to make if it's that much.
But
We're-
at least it's known.
Yeah, and at least we've done it. I mean, it's been talked
Done the
about
work.
for years,
So
so,
what would they, someone would come, people would come back and say, hey, you know, my septic just failed, or my neighbor's just failed, or
yeah.
maybe we should,
That's why the
Get back into
downtown is really the only area that we're looking at, because most people have more land.
Everybody else has
Around-
room to put somewhere
A
else.
little more room,
Yeah.
if nothing else, but I've also heard people say, well, you know, times are changing, you know, why should I have to worry about whether somebody else, if there's only a couple homes or a couple businesses, whatever, that are affected, so the rest of us are supposed to pay for them to, it's a catch-22. You really can't win either way. So,
everybody happy.
so it's the greater good, I guess, is
The
what,
only way to solve it is to move to the city,
yeah.
where it's
So-
already done.
Yeah, so I think let's,
I think we should finish the project because it puts a line in the sand,
Yeah.
it puts the information out there.
it's out there,
and
A
this,
decade from now, at least there's something to start with.
exactly.
right?
And this also includes 2 visits. The engineer will come to the public hearing that we have, as well as to deliver the project to us. So, all in all,
Sounds like a good time.
let's let's have a motion and see where we end up with this,
So this is, you need a motion for the,
to authorize the amendment to the road contract to,
I will make a motion to authorize the amendment to the row contract for the increase of $1,600 for the additional work needed to complete the study.
I'll second that.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to authorize the amendment to the contract for engineering services for the sanitary sewer study at the amount of $1,600. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, could we have a roll call, please? Lori?
Swack,
Yes.
Pelichick,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the Oakland County IT Services Agreement. Basically, I'm asking you to authorize me to enter into the agreement, which we've had for a lot of years. Thus far, it hasn't cost us anything. It gives us access to their geotechnical mapping systems and whatever that I don't think we've ever used it, to my knowledge. But our planner did at one point, and I think our building official has on several occasions. So I think we're better off maintaining the relationship on a free basis than letting it lapse
Yeah.
and being without it and then having maybe to pay more to get into it. So that's why I'm asking for approval for that.
I will make a motion to allow our village president to continue the contract with Oakland County IT Services.
I'll second.
Yeah, I just don't know what to put there.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no.
Who was the second on that?
John?
Oh, John, you were second? Okay, thank you.
Okay. The final item under new business is the SISMA project application for invasive control. Basically, there's grant money through Oakland County to attack invasive species. our trail manager for the Pollyant Trail identified a pretty good stretch along the Pollyant Trail of invasive bittersweet and autumn olive. And so I would like to ask them for a grant to spray those areas. Again, this is not, there's no match. It's, they've been in the village once before and sprayed along the trail over by the trailhead off Beza Street and between Beza and Rochester Road. So it works. I mean, it worked there, so.
It's a company that comes in?
Yeah, generally, it's usually a contractor.
DNR doesn't
Well,
concern?
they're monitored, but they're licensed.
Okay.
Excuse me. The contractor has to be licensed. And this, as it happens, this area by the Clark Drain, it's where the Clark Drain crosses underneath the railroad. It's been a problematic area for a lot of years, not just because of drainage, et cetera. So the more we keep that cleaned up and don't let it get grown in, the better off it is for the village. So I think it's a good project, so.
This was covered by a grant.
And it's covered through SISMA, that's my understanding, yes. They did not ask for a match,
Great.
so.
What do you have to do? Is it a contract?
Just
or-
authorize the project application and agreement.
I will make a motion to authorize the project application for invasive control.
Let's go with project application and agreement.
And agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will make a motion to authorize the SISMA project application and agreement for invasive control spraying.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Could we have a roll call, please, for that? Just,
Sure. McDonald,
yes.
Pellicet,
Yes.
Swack,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, under old business, we've already just touched on it. Next month, we're gonna have, probably next month, the only sense of urgency is that Oakland County wants us to allocate and spend this money for that's old, the old money, the 2019 funds. So if we plug it into sidewalks, that will give them space and they will give us space. So we'll bring that back to you at the next meeting, assumedly, right?
Yep.
Lori?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna get the notice in so we can get that rolling and get in their good graces again, because I need to be in their good graces.
Yes.
Okay, the nature park update is just that. They still have, I did authorize a contract for the soil borings. It was less than $5,000. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with the number. So that'll be proceeding, and that's basically where we are right now with that. And then I did receive an email from the Boy Scout that is doing the sign project for the DPW and the trailhead. And he said that he's got most of the signs made and that he wanted to know when or how we could work with him to get the holes bored for the posts and attachments and that. So I'm taking care of that, so I think he's shooting to get it done soon, at least before the
Great.
weather
That'd
turns,
be
I hope.
awesome.
So, yeah, so that's it. On the DPW update, you saw I sent out a memo. The village was reviewed by the Michigan Municipal League, who administers our insurance program, and they came and looked at our operations and how we do things, and they pointed out, if not on the administrative side, but on the employee side, basically, safety concerns, some things at the DPW that need to be addressed for safety reasons. And it's Don, our DPW manager, is well versed on safety, and he doesn't do anything unsafe. But he doesn't do stuff that he knows would be unsafe. So if we get the right equipment, it's like we bought that platform the representative really loved that we had a work platform that was OSHA compliant and all that. And he recommended that we get a welding cart so that we could chain up our welding tanks, and a few other odds and ends that would enhance, if something did happen, we wouldn't be, he felt we wouldn't look negligent in having if we've addressed them. So it's going to involve some money, and Judy and I have yet to sit down and figure out how much, but we really need to do it, you know, so that we don't, I don't want to have our insurance questioned, you know, next, if he comes back or whoever comes back a year from now and says, well, you said you were going to do this and this, we told you.
Update him when it's, would you update him when it's done?
He didn't actually ask for an update, but,
I would.
but he did send us a letter. We do
Right, I was
have,
gonna say, no,
Yeah,
there's
we do
some
have to,
update.
we have to make a response
Yep.
to his recommendations. So I'd just as soon say yes,
Yeah.
and we'll do it.
Is this done on a yearly basis he comes in, or is it just random?
I think it's kind of random, isn't it,
Yeah,
Jenny?
it depends.
Probably if he sees something wrong, he wants it fixed.
I remember one other occasion where somebody came, and that was years ago.
You know, they used to come every year before COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I usually
But
didn't
since
do it.
COVID,
One-man show, and now he's gonna hit you when he gets to it.
So that's really,
But it was little things that just need to be.
yeah, I'm thinking probably $2,000. You have to get a flame-proof cabinet, have to get the safety chains and carrier for the acetylene tanks, and the required postings. They're down there, but they're rolled up in a corner. So I need to get them up, and, you know, we do try.
Is it just you and Don that are over
Say,
there?
when it's just
Yeah,
the two of you,
pretty
you're,
much.
you know the safety.
And he
you know-
works-
You know how to be safe. You don't need to be
He
told,
works
but they just want to see
36-hour
that.
days.
Right, and I'm a volunteer, really, basically,
Well,
so,
the signs are for you then.
yeah. So, okay, so I'm just,
and we think we'll have the money for it so that it isn't a budget extra.
yeah, if we, as long as, maybe I should ask for a motion to authorize a certain amount, because it'll be, I can't spend money, that much money
Right.
without, without permission. So if I have to buy, like the flame cabinets, I've seen them, the size we need, they range used, if you can find one used, from like $1,300 to $2,300 new. So, I think the acetylene cart is probably about $250 to $300. So maybe, if we talk $2,500.
I think that'd cover it, yeah.
Yeah, if you would, a motion to authorize up to $2,500 for the purchase of DPW.
And it would come out of new equipment on the budget.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to authorize up to $2,500 for compliance repair items
For the DPW.
for DPW.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize up to $2,500 to be spent for DPW, safety and other updates. Is there any question on the motion? Could we have a roll call on that, Lori, please?
Swack,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Belichick.
Thank you. Okay, President's report. I have no knowledge of any FOIA requests. We did have some inquiries about the 4285 situation, but nothing formal was requested. The CDBG reported, I have not received, village hasn't received any applications or anything for assistance. Ordinance enforcement, of course, 4285 is still at the top of the list. I did get one, informal complaint or informational complaint, if you would, about some noise violations with the motorcycles and stuff, but we're keeping an eye on it. We'll see what happens. And then the festival committee chair, the members of the festival committee appointed Brandy Schmidt as the chairperson for the Leonard Strawberry Festival. So that's a good thing.
It is.
It is.
It's
It
just
really
her
is.
spot that she was in now, is
Yeah.
a concern, so,
Right.
and I hate to see her take on both.
Yeah, but they're hanging in there, and that's what we all need to do. We need to support them, and they do have money. They rely on donations though in the main, and so the plan right now is January or February they'll start doing their fundraising and start planning the next festival. So. That's good news all the way around, as far as I'm concerned, so. And then with that, trustee committee reports, I think we covered the summer festival committee. Cable commission, John, anything there?
Yeah, they still said we haven't paid the peg fees. That's like
Oh.
been the,
Right.
We're waiting for our audit. Any idea when that?
I keep tell them that, they're like, yeah, right. I'm like,
Well-
we aren't actually waiting for audit.
We always pay it.
Yeah.
We do always pay it, but we need to know how much, and that's what our auditor tells us. And right now, we're waiting for our auditor to finish the audit for 2022, right, Judy? So it takes about a year. So it is in the works,
Gotcha.
okay?
And we're aware of it.
Yeah, well aware.
Tell them.
Decorating committee, anything going on?
No,
Everything, the hall looks nice with all the decorations up.
Yep.
Okay, North Oakland Transportation Authority, they're still working on the parking lot, at the facility. The tenant there, I don't know if you, are familiar with it, but, NOTA bought a facility over on Glaspie Street in Oxford. It's about 20,000 square feet, of which we were using 10,000 square feet. So we rented the other 10,000 square feet to another company. Well, that company's been making a mess. And in fact, they got cited by the village, packing crates and debris piled out behind the building. So shame on us for not,
well, shame
catching
on-
it first.
Shame on them too.
Well, yeah, and so bottom line is, we'll get that cleaned up and, and move
For that
on.
because they own the building, or does the violation go to that other company?
Well, ultimately, we're responsible, but it did go to them because it is their material. It was they sublet or lease from
Yeah.
us. But yeah, they can't use it the outdoors for outdoor storage of
When is
of
their
anything.
lease up?
Pardon?
When is their lease up?
Not for a couple more years, 2 or 3 more years. And yeah, honestly,
Madden fees.
there's not a lot of space out there. I mean, people aren't building big, expensive buildings right now, like storage, commercial buildings, unless they've got a real going enterprise. So, and we conversely need that extra space. I mean, we could certainly use it because with the county transit authority connection now, we've already got 6 more vehicles operating. So we're back to putting vehicles outside for storage. So I'm sure it'll all work out, And we have a meeting next week, next Thursday. Planning Commission, Jennifer, I did give you the original. We were notified by Elmont Township Planning Commission that they're going to be
Working on their plan.
renewing their master plan, which by law, they're required to notify communities
Oh, okay.
within
One
certain distance of their community. So it doesn't require it doesn't require anything from us. We will automatically get a copy of their master plan when they complete it. And then if you do have a comment,
To say, actually, it says, once a draft has been prepared, a copy will be sent to your community's review and to you for your community's review and comment.
Yeah.
Once it's adopted, then we'll get an official one. So I don't know what we would say to them that was,
we kind of touch them at a corner, so to speak. So we don't have overlap with them, so. But we'll manage.
Is there a
we-
meeting?
Huh?
Is there a meeting this month, planning commission?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't require a response.
Do we
No,
need to
no,
get
are
one
we-
in? Are we short for the year? Did we get ours in?
no, I don't know.
I don't either. I'd have to
We
ask
did the last
Leslie.
one, right?
We did September, right?
I think if we needed
Leslie's resignation.
one, if we needed one at all.
Leslie resigned, I think, the end of this year.
It might be the end of 2024.
Is it 2024?
I think so.
I hope so. We have to talk to her. Do some arm twisting.
I was gonna say, I can't take the position.
So are they having a meeting on Thursday?
I haven't.
There's, if, I want to say if we need one, I think we just had one so that we didn't force that many at the end of the year, but as our,
The end of the year goes through
I
February.
would say our calendar year allows us to do
Forgot.
January,
Fiscal.
February.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
So we have till February.
If we need one more, I think we'd only need one more if we did. So let's just plan for November, I guess, if there's nothing to be spoken.
So no
Okay.
meeting.
I will make a motion to cancel the planning commission meeting for October 2023.
Because I need to call cable and,
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to cancel the regular meeting in October for the planning commission. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion carries. The meeting's canceled.
And I'll ask her for a count.
Pollyant Trail, meeting is next Wednesday. I think things are, apart from the SISMA activity for the invasives, I think things are starting to wind down now for the year, But along that vein of thought, I don't know if council was aware, I wasn't aware until the day of it, but the Addison Township Fire Department held a 3K and a 5K run in memory of Chuck Johnson, who was the firefighter that passed away during COVID, from COVID. And they held it on in the village. I was unaware of it.
When did this
And-
happen?
And I think it was a new event, and they planned it internally. And when I spoke to the fire chief, he said that they had been told to contact the village and the Pollyant Trail because part of the race was held on the trail. And let's just say at this point that it was no big deal. They understand what the rules are now. You can't close the street. They closed half of Elmwood Street for their start. They had they had one of those inflatable starting gates and all that stuff. It was.
When was
They had,
yeah, really.
I saw the paint on this, like
Sunday-
they painted like this.
no, you know what? I said the same thing. I said,
That
I
Elmwood
was-
Street
I
was
never
showing
heard
like
of
5K. It was like a
They
random.
said,
like,
well, it was on Facebook, I guess. Their
Really?
Facebook account for,
It doesn't get anywhere, really.
well,
Ask you.
I'm on it
they
all
had,
the time. I didn't
they
see
had
it.
56 people participate. Which
That's a lot.
is not bad.
For this village,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
That's
Yeah.
a lot. So they had a good day for it too. So, but anyway, in case any question is made about that, they now understand the necessity to work with the community and the trails. So moving forward, that it'll be fine, I'm sure. And I'm sure we would want to, encourage that. It's a real community oriented thing. And I was thinking we could even sponsor them like,
I'm surprised there weren't flyers out anyway, that they didn't want us to post a flyer.
I know, I was really
There
taken
was nothing in
aback.
the post office or anything,
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, you're right.
It's
So,
just,
So
Maybe
anyway,
they didn't want a lot of run-ins the first time.
oh no, I think they wanted as many as they could get. They were pretty happy with 56 people.
Yeah.
Did the runners have like a fee to pay to do
Right.
this so they could use
Yeah,
this?
yeah, but it's a nonprofit, so,
Oh,
so the
absolutely.
money was gonna go, I guess there are several scholarships at Oxford High School,
Yeah.
that Chuck's family.
Where did they run to? How far is that?
My understanding is they ran either to, Hagerman Road or Secord Lake Road, and then up to, either Gerst or Boardman Road, and then back down the Pollyant Trail to the road.
Okay, okay.
So,
2 miles?
3 miles.
3
I
miles.
think three and three,
5K, I think.
yeah.
Oh.
So,
Just saw Jerry, I would have given crap.
oh, I know,
I had no idea.
but I think, and I think we can use it as an enticement, that if we become one of the sponsors of the event, then they won't have to buy the necessary insurance. They may already have it, but, you know, we can participate in other ways, kind of like we do with
Anything that,
Strawberry Festival, yeah. So it'll be a win-win. I mean, it was good. It was just, I know some residents were caught unawares, and I was among them, which was kind of embarrassing, but I think it's all set. Okay, so with that, Village Parks, I don't think there's anything going on there right now, except probably getting it ready for winter. And then Block Grant, we've already talked about that. They still don't have a monthly summary, but the numbers I gave you are accurate based on the information that we've gotten from them. The only correspondence I received is the Almont Township Master Plan Update Letter. And with that, I have no further business. Does the council have anything?
I actually forgot to add to number 3, the decorating committee, that I requested, because the music of the mill had gone over so well,
Right.
knowing that it was about $200 to do it the first time, as you know, and I didn't have a problem professionally supporting the next one. So I asked for more, because the JDB, the band that was there is not available, they're busy through the next month, so I asked for other people, and I actually got 5 or 6 different bands who would be interested. And told them, you know, I said the first one was just the first one. It doesn't mean we can't have another one. So there's no plan, there's nothing scheduled, so we'll figure this out as we go.
Did you speak with Jennifer about their availability? Because I got the impression that they were.
I was asking for like October and November, you know, just kind of on the whim,
Oh, I see.
you know, to do another
okay.
one of the music at the
Right,
mills.
right. Oh.
And they said no, and I said, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the list, I know how much,
gotcha.
and now I'm gonna keep a list so that we can kind of throw this out there. You know, obviously, it's always gonna be a weather-dependent thing, but lots of people seem to like it, so, you know, if it's
Like
something,
an annual thing is what you're kind of trying to do there?
you know, not really annually, more of a,
More like a Parks and Rec kind of thing.
more like a, yes.
You do it a couple times, you know, in the summer or whatever.
That's it, yeah, if we
Okay.
can, you know, to
Okay.
maybe get to the point where we're scheduling April through something, as long as we have sponsors for it. I don't want it to come
Right.
back on the village as a cost, you know. The planning committee, or the decorating committee does not have funds to continue supporting that, but, you know, and I did tell them, you know, I had one guy that said, we cost too much money, I can't put that on you, and I said, if I sell a house, put it on me, that's fine. That's fine.
That's
you know.
awesome. Well,
If something like that comes out of that, then I'll support the thing for the entire year, I don't care. But other people are welcome, you know, other businesses, won't hog it. But I did open it up for other people, so I'll maintain a list and kind of get together and see what we
behalf of
can,
the village, thanks,
pull
Jennifer.
together,
That's
so.
awesome. Okay,
that was it.
all right. Well, if nobody else has anything, I'm waiting for more.
I will make a motion to end this meeting at 7:55.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn at 7:55. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say no. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.